companies are doing data warehousing today? Most of the people say that they are doing data warehousing today, and they are looking for analytics on top of that. Why? If you are thinking about the companies today, you have a lot of transactional systems in the companies, creating data. Most of them has some reporting capabilities, but in the long run, almost every company has been creating a separate reporting platforms. Can be first generation data warehousing platforms like Oracle, Sybase, SQL Server, whatever. Second generation Teradata, Netezza, Vertica. And now there is coming a third generation platforms like Hadoop. Who has been hearing something about Hadoop? It's a new buzzword coming from US for really big data. I will come back to that one. There is a lot of noise on the market with Hadoop, and someone says that it's like a teenage sex. A lot of noise, no action. So, in the long run, people have been creating a lot of different data warehouses, and in some companies, there might be a lot of different ones with different transaction rules, collecting data. And if you are making the same report from each and every of these data marts or data warehouses, do you think that you get the right results for everything? Most likely not. People say that about 50% of the data warehouse solutions are failing because it's mostly IT owned, not the business owned. That's one of the things in the past. Collecting this data, what you have, it's most likely, any guess how much of the existing data from your company you are collecting from your online transactional systems? Most companies say that 10-15% of the existing data. Not too much. People are used to information which is structured using relational databases. In your company you have a lot of unstructured data, which means that you might have some machine-to-machine information depending on the industry. Like telcos, they have a lot of CDRs coming from. Traditionally, they have been collecting CDRs from the billing. Today, most of the telcos are collecting CDRs from the probes, from each and every device, and making analytics on top of that, which means that the amount of data is growing rapidly. They say that one phone call is about 15 to 20 different transactions in the network, minimum. So the data amount is really growing. Other thing is that companies has partners. You might have dealers, suppliers, some other partners, which has a lot of valuable data, which could be combined with your existing ones. And of course, one really famous thing is Twitter, Facebook, all the social media. There are a lot of nice stories where they have been collecting data from social media, combining it with existing transactional data, and finding a lot of new opportunities in the marketplace. As well as there are a lot of nice examples for fraud and some other things, because people are quite openly giving instructions how to do things in social media, like free calls from UK to Morocco. That has been an example few weeks ago when they found out this, not from their own transactional systems, but from the social media. There was instruction how to make the free calls, and they have been using this for 2 years. You can imagine how many millions they have been losing money in the telcos. So this requires a really big analytical platform to make business out of the data what you have. Not only internal data, but partners, social media, and some machine to machine. And of course, building up this kind of infrastructure, it's quite tricky, not easy task. Why should we care about this? If you are thinking about running the company, companies has been making reporting, what has happened. That's the traditional way of doing reporting. Concerning our products, customers, services, whatever. And as much as I have been seeing, most of the companies are on this phase. They are doing nice reports with different ways of presenting it. Not too many has been concentrating why this has happened. What is it in my customer base or in my product portfolio or the combination or the channels, whatever we are using, why this has happened? Anyone of you are doing this? Analytics on top of the reporting? Good. There are a few, not too many. There should be everyone doing this. The next step is, what will happen if we are doing this transaction, if we are doing this campaign, if we are doing this promotion, decreasing price, increasing price, making packages, whatever transaction depending on the industry, what will happen if we do this and why? That's the reason why you should have data warehouse with transactional data, all the transactions what you are doing internally as well as externally with your partners, social media, and if there's machine-to-machine availability on that side. Like electricity companies are collecting meter information in every 15 minutes. They can optimize things, which means that whenever you are ready on this side, you can start optimizing your company, making automatic decisions, optimizing all the transactions and making them automated. There has not to be always a person to make a decision, because that's the most difficult and time-consuming part of the decision making. There's people making decisions. If you have business rules, whatever your management is saying, this is the way how we do. You can make a lot of automation and optimization on top of your data, if you have the transactional data. Retail is a good example. If you are collecting data like in Finland they do, based on the receipt, the product group, day. Can you make optimization on top of that? Oh, yes, maybe, but not that good. You should have every row from your receipt, every product what has been sold, the price, the quantity, the time, and then you can start to make optimization. You can be sure that there's no situation where you can have the nothing in stock situation when customer is coming in. Depends on the products. You know that this customer is coming at this time to your store, buying these and these and these products, and this is valuable customer. If it's not valuable, then who cares? Well, you should, because you should try to make not profitable customers to be the profitable customers by optimizing things. Price optimization, assortment optimization, and some others. The same with banks, same with insurance companies, the same in telcos. Everyone is selling some products, whatever they are. Telcos are a little bit different because they are making their products in the billing. Everything else is carrier business. But That's the way how it should be. And this is the structure what the big companies are already doing. They are profitable, they are even more profitable than they used to be by optimizing things. Any questions, concerns, objections? No? Everyone agrees? How to build up this kind of infrastructure? Not rocket science. You have to have a stack with hardware and operating system as open as possible. You might have good deals with your suppliers, server suppliers. They might even have on-site services, depending on the size of the company. So today, most of the companies are preferring to have x86-based servers because they are cheap. You can have as many as you need, and open software like Linux or whatever. The tricky part comes here. A database. 10-15% of your data is structured, which you can store in Oracle or whatever transactional system. There's voice, there's videos, there's pictures, there's a lot of other formats which you should as well care about. So in this phase, the relational database and Hadoop comes to the picture. Hadoop is more or less file system for unstructured data. It's open source today. It will be really popular in the future, most likely. You have to have a way to represent the data with logical data model, physical data model. You can buy it from industry. Depending on the industry, there might be some good samples, like in retail they have an open data model. In telcos there are a lot of companies selling data models, or you can have your own. Data model can be really simple, but as well can be really complicated, depending on the way how you are thinking about things. But the main thing in data model is that store all the data in transactional level. Don't make aggregates. Don't keep it in the summary level, because you never can go back and see why this happened. Why this customer bought this and this product together, or this and this services. You can always, of course, using common sense is not prohibited. You can have the summary tables because of the performance, but don't lose the transactional data. In the banking business, at least in Finland, they say that they are cleaning data. What does it mean? I know they are cleaning customers, but how can you clean data? Someone is withdrawing money, or someone is moving money from account to the other one. Is there something what you can clean? It should be stored as is. If there is an error, there is an error. That should be, because the error is already in the transactional system. Should be as well available in here. If there is correction, then the correction is there. But don't fix the error by deleting the error. Fix it in the same way as you did it in the transactional system. You have to get your data down to the analytical platform in a way or other. By the way, it's not typing error. Up to now, people have been speaking about ETL layer. If you are thinking about really big data volumes, you cannot have that big ETL server, like Informatica or whatever, where you can make the comparison in between the existing data and the new coming data. So you have to load it as soon as you can, down to the database, and then compare it with existing data to get good quality data. ETL layer you can use for homologating data. Some of the systems are storing data like sex with numbers. The other one might use it in the letters. You have to have one way to represent data. That's the only thing what you should do in the ETL layer. Not cleaning data, not making things. If you have to make some transformation things, do it inside the database. Internally, comparing with existing ones. The next important layer is metadata. What does metadata say to you? Most of the people, that's correct answer. Most of the people are thinking about metadata, that the tools has their own metadata layer, like MicroStrategy, business objects, anything. They have their internal metadata, but that's not the data what you should keep. That's only for the tool. If you are thinking about the ETL layer failing someday, what's the most common reason? Someone has been making changes to the source system. Changing the name, changing the value, changing the definition of the table or the column. And your ETL process is failing. You should have information about information. From which system this data is coming, who owns it, the table name, the column name, the values if there is any min-max values, and all these kind of things. Then you know exactly what to do when something fails. Business layer. If you are thinking about reporting, you have hundreds of reports using one of the business definitions you have. For example, active customer. If business or the management has been defining the business rules for valuable customer or active customer, you should have it available for everyone, not inside the reporting layer. It should be inside the database. Because if you are making any changes in here, and if you are internal resource, you would hate to go to all these 150 reports and make the change. If you are a consultant, you love to do it because it's billable things all the time. So, the business layer, in the beginning, it's nothing else than the view layer, defining all the business rules what you can do. You cannot do all the business rules in this layer, but then you can have user-defined functions and other things inside the database. The next thing is in database analytics. Up to now, most of the people are using some tools for analytics, like SPSS, SAS, whatever tool. Most likely, you are using the same kind of infrastructure. Extracting data from the database to the tool, server, manipulating it, making analytics, and then loading data down to the database. Does it make sense? I just met the customer in Portugal, in Lisbon, who had a SAS transaction, or had SAS analytics. It took 27 hours to run one job, extracting 1.5 billion rows from the database, running 3 different models, comparing what is the best model, and downloading data back to the database. What if the results are not okay? You like to make some changes to your model. Takes next 27 hours. So it's too slow to make this kind of transactions today with this amount of data that you are going to collect on the transactional level. Well, most of the people are doing samples. Is the sample exactly correct? Have not seen any It might be, but if you have to make things based on samples, and then when you are defining your model, then you are running it against the big data. Do you get really exact results? If you start to make a lottery, you will be the winner. Samples are not always correct. Most likely they are not. So you should have availability to make this analytics inside the database, in parallel, as soon as you can, with all the resources what you have. In this example, they used a SAS Enterprise Edition, and they combined it with Greenplum in-database and in-memory analytics. Make a good guess how long it takes to run the same query, or the same analytics.
5 hours.
80 seconds. Which means that the whole game for analytics is changing. You can make testing with your models. If this is better than this one, you cannot even get a cup of coffee before the results are ready. In the old way, you could go back home, come tomorrow afternoon, see if results are there. If you are happy with the results, then you publish it. If not, then you run a new query, coming back day after tomorrow. Does not make sense. Within database analytics, there's a lot of functionalities what you can do inside the database. If we have this kind of functionality, what will happen for the reporting layer? The tools what you are using for reporting. Most of the companies have been buying MicroStrategy, Business Objects, Cognos, whatever reporting tool. If you have the business layer, in database analytics, the reporting is only the presentation layer. Making nice pictures, making speedometers or traffic lights, whatever you like to make presentation. And the good news is that if something changes in the business rules, they are effective immediately. All your reports. Make sense? You don't have to make guess if this has been changed or not. Whenever it's changed, it's available for all the reports what are using that definition. Of course, on top of this, you have some applications and analytics. There are some analytics what you cannot do inside the database, unfortunately, today. It's improving all the time. Most of the analytics you can do, but there might be some reasons for taking data out. And there are a lot of nice tools, like SAS is one of the really good tools for this kind of analytics. There are some others as well. What is missing? Most important thing is missing.
The results for the analysis? What you need to change to make the results better?
They are stored in the database. Whenever you do in database analytics, you are always storing the results down to the database. You should. Otherwise, there's performance problems if you do it several times. It makes sense to store it inside the database. If you are going to refuel your car, are you expecting to have service? Most of the people are used to self-service. If you are thinking to go to your IT department, saying that I need this report, what is the answer?
Do it yourself.
Today, mostly, they have a list of 50 different reasons why you cannot get it today. We don't have data, we don't have resources, we don't have tools, we don't have time. I have seen the list, most of these different reasons. Which means that you should be able to do it by yourself. Depending on the rights what you have, for the data sets, for the queries, for the resources. You should have the possibility to do it by yourself whenever you need it. And whenever you have been doing it, you should be able to distribute it to all the people who needs that information. Or you can distribute things with your colleagues, saying that, hey, I made this analytics. Would you like to take a look if it makes sense? If there is anything what you like to change? So there should be some kind of Facebook for analytical people, where you can do your own data marts as long as you need it, and then let it go. If you have rights to make your own sandbox or whatever it's called, inside the database or inside the database engine. There's no rocket science. I have been dealing with this kind of things since 1970. Most of you were not even born at that time. Different reporting, different analytics. Have been making a lot of mistakes. Don't do the same mistakes as I made. Make your own. But use this baseline, how to do things. It helps you a lot. In the beginning, it sounds crazy to build up the business layer with select star from this table. But it pays back someday. Whenever you are making the first changes, then it really pays back. Of course, it depends on the database engine. If there's a cost for the views and user-defined functions. But there are databases where there's no cost until you use it. It's exactly the same cost as you are using a SQL query coming from the database or using it internally. Of course, you have to implement this and you have to run it. That's all what you have to do in the analytics, in the big data. Creating a nice database, good logical data model with transactional data, keeping it as long as business needs it. In the retail, they say that around 60 months, the data has value. In telcos, there are some regulations where you have to keep it for certain years for the different usages, not only internally but externally as well, because the government has some regulations and they might need some data. So this is the way how it works. How can we do it? This is really easy to make it in here. Mostly it works if you have the operating system called PowerPoint. EMC bought a company called Greenplum around 2 years ago. Greenplum is specialized for database engines based on open hardware with the scalable platforms. With x86 platforms using Linux as an operating system, and it's built up so that if you have a client, you have a server, and you have as many servers as you need for the power reasons. Let's make it easy. You have four servers. When you are loading data, we are distributing every table across all the resources automatically in parallel. Most of the competitors are downloading data through this connection interface, and they have limitation today because of the servers up to 2 terabytes per hour. We can download 13.7 terabytes per hour per rack. If you have 2 rack system, it's double amount, so it's linearly scalable on the loading side. And whenever you are making queries, the optimizer in here is distributing requests for all the resources what you have. And you are really getting fast responses. We made testing with the similar database running in one stream in here and running in one server with 8 cores it was exactly 8 times faster in one server. Adding 3 more servers, we are as fast as you need. We can have 4,096 servers in parallel. Well, the biggest customer is running 248 servers in parallel. They have more than 10 petabytes of data. So it scales up as much as you need. Good news for you is that you don't have to think about pricing based on performance. If you need to have a double performance or half of the response times, you are adding double amount of servers. So going from 4 servers to 8 servers, you are speeding it up exactly so that you can have half response times what you had before with the same amount of data, or you can have double amount of data with the same performance. With cost of, what's the cost today for a small server? 5,000, including the internal disks. By the way, now when there is no EMC people in here, don't use external disks for this kind of environment. Use internal ones. VNX is a nice product, not for this infrastructure. I can kill any VNX or any sandbox with 4 servers, with one query, one line query. Have done it so many times, I know. So having internal disks, you can have some boxes like 5,000, 6,000 euros. Adding, there's no need for tuning the database as if you are dealing with Oracle or SQL Server or whatever. There's a lot of tuning, indexing, and placing indexes in these disks and so on. In the Greenplum infrastructure, forget it. It's cheaper to add 2 servers, and by the way, you can do it online. Adding 2 servers, distributing software, and saying reconfigure, it's distributing existing data to empty servers. And it's there. You can make your productional queries at the same time. No breaks. Only reason for making break for Greenplum is when you are upgrading your software. From version 4.2.2 to 4.2.3 requires a stop. Takes about less than a minute. You will stop the database, break the links, create the new links, start the database, and that's all. You are running with the new release of the software. And you can add as many servers. As well as you can have different servers. Because if you are buying server today and you are upgrading your system in 2 years, can you get the existing server after 2 years? Most likely not. The server life is something like 7 to 8 months, and then it disappears. It's replaced with the new one. So in the same system you can have different generation of servers. You can as well increase the installation or decrease. Whenever something is outdated, there is no services or spares for this server, you can take it offline and reconfigure, and data is distributed all over the resources what they have. If you are thinking about usability, of course everything is doubled at least, so there's no single point of failure. There is automatic replication for data from segment to other segment. So if this fails, you still have the data available. If you are thinking about the design phase in this kind of system, it was designed for the customers who are using petabytes of data, not terabytes, not gigabytes, petabytes. So everything must be automatic. There is no DPA functions except create table or alter table or drop table and this kind of things. But you can of course create indexes if you like, but mostly there's no need. I was the first customer of Greenplum in Europe, 2007, and we were running the system for one of the retailers in Finland without a single index. And the performance was really good. There was no need. They upgraded the system with 4 new servers beginning of this year, having a double performance without any indexes. Now they have 60 months data available. This system is designed for structured data, relational database. What about unstructured data? Promise to come back to this loading stuff. We can have as many loading servers as you need. You have to remember, each and every of these can handle 2 terabytes per hour. We are connecting it to the public network, getting data out from the source system, distributing it to the loading servers automatically, and we are connecting the loading servers to our backbone. We are not using the connection server for the loadings at all. Of course, you can load if you like to make a copy directly from the existing CSV file through this one. But why should you? Because there is always a limit. I know in Estonia or Finland we don't have customer who is loading 10 terabytes per hour or per day. What it means that you can download data whenever you need it. You don't have to have a window for loading data as well as for backing it up. We are supporting two ways to back these things up. You can back things up internally to your internal disks. Why? Why it's important? If you are thinking about taking 1 terabyte up to the, for example, some tape system or the robots, 1 terabyte takes a day. Restoring data back to the database takes about 2.5 times what it takes to back it up. So if you are crashing one table, you might lose 1 or 2 days in production. We are storing backups in each and every segment. And if you are making a mistake, there is a DPA saying that drop a table or drop a database. And if you have a DPA, it's not going to ask if you really mean it. It's dropping it immediately. But if you have this system, you can restore it immediately as well, because it's already in this right segment, in the right server, and you can make restore and it's there. Of course, you can take this offline up to the data domain or tape system or whatever you need. But it's always online. The latest backups are there, available whenever you need. I know it's really, really valuable thing. I've been making some mistakes. Drop a table. Oops, not that one. But it's gone. Especially if you rename the tables, and then you are trying to remember what is the old one, what can I delete? Okay, let's drop that one, and it's there. The next thing is the Hadoop system. Hadoop is a file system which is designed for, it's open source system. You can download it. The problem is that it's not enterprise ready yet. It's going to be quite soon. There's a lot of development going on. It's designed for the non-structured data, semi-structured data. It distributes data across the servers. Normally they are making 3 copies. So if you lose a server in here, they are not available, but there is always a file which is available. So it's online. The Hadoop is a nice way to store data, but there's no tools to retrieve it. So you cannot make a lot of queries. If you have 10 terabytes of data, there is a possibility to make query from Excel. Using Excel for 10 terabyte of data? Oh, maybe not. Depends what you are expecting. There are coming new tools, but it requires a lot of IT support, a lot of Java knowledge. There are some tools, but not that many, and they are not ready yet for the enterprise level. The good news in EMC world is that we are delivering Hadoop version of our own for $1,000 per each server per year, including the support. 24/7 support. That was not the best news. The best news is that you can combine Hadoop system with Greenplum system, and all the tools you have here you can use for querying data in the Hadoop system through Greenplum. Today, that's already in production. This is not announcement. I would not be too surprised to see Hadoop file system someday here. Why not? We have a GNet internal network based on Ethernet, exactly the same as here. So why don't we have possibilities to do things internally? Today we can do it externally by extracting data from Hadoop system. There is a functionality called external table. External table can be whatever, if there is data. It can be a flat file, it can be other database, or other Greenplum system. You can read or write from external table. It looks exactly for the end user like our own table. So you can combine things from external ones, which can be, by the way, even a Facebook, combining with your own data. Not moving data from place to place anymore, like it used to be before. So you can use data whenever you need, from wherever you need. When should we start with you? Most of the customers have already a data warehouse in place. Why don't we install the Greenplum, coexist, having your existing data warehouse as an external table for analytics? You can still do reporting, you can still do all those things what you have been doing, what the system was designed, but you can still do a lot of things, a lot of additional things with Greenplum. You can download Greenplum Community Edition from our greenplum.com website. It's free of charge. You can use it for testing as big system as you like. You can use it in your PC, like I have it, or you can use it in the server, or several servers. If you are taking it to production, then there is a price, of course, we have to leave as well. We have more than 140 people developing Hadoop, so it's developing really fast. We have more than 700 people on this site making development for relational database. Any questions, concerns, objections?
To the relational database there, you have several servers there, and you mentioned that you can actually back up on a single server the data. And you mentioned that the data is distributed all over the servers.
Yep.
How can you actually back up on a single one then?
You are backing up this part of the data table down to your same server. In this case, it's 1/8 of the table, each and every table. And then when you are restoring it, it's online in the same server. every server is making backup for its own data, and only for its own data.
So the actual data is not, it's distributed by the tables, or how is it done?
Every table is distributed evenly for all the resources what you have. It depends on your definition, if you like to make your own decision, or if you are giving the system to there is a distribution key, which can be one column, or it can be combination of columns. Or you can say that it's distributed evenly.
So if you lose like 2 servers there, then some of the data from the table is lost.
It depends on the combination how you have been designing it. You can do this on this way. So if you are losing one here, you still have all the data available. Having these groups.
Okay.
There is automatic fallback option, which means that it's copying automatically this information to some other server.
So there's actual overhead.
There is overhead, yes.
How much? 1 server, 2 servers?
No. On the performance side, there's no, except when you are writing.
For example, we have, like there, we have 6 servers.
Yeah.
So every server has its own copy, and how much
And
extra?
And copy of one of these segments.
So but there's one extra overhead then.
When you are writing it, yes.
Yeah.
When you are reading it, there's no overhead.
Okay.
Because we are reading only from the master table, not from the backup. Except the system is crashing. Then in this case, it's losing 18% of the power. Thank you for your interest. If there is any questions, I'm more than happy to